Hello everyone, I hope you've been fine. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe, like and comment, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much. So today we are going to discuss on surveying works. We are going to discuss on surveying works. So we need to know various things in survey as a unit of engineering. So first we'll begin with defining the term surveying. What is surveying? Surveying is the art of determining the relative positions of distinctive features on the Earth's surface by means of measurements of distances, directions, and elevations. Yeah. So when you want to do surveying works, you must first determine various aspects like the distances. You measure the distance of the place you want to survey, the direction of the place you want to survey, the elevation of the place, that is the angle at which the place lies on the Earth's surface. So that is what you need to consider when you are doing surveying works. So surveying works has various objectives. Majorly, the surveying works is done so that you can prepare plans and maps for engineering purposes, for cadastral purposes, and many other factors. So we have primary divisions of surveying works. The first division is plane surveying. The next one is geodetic surveying. So what is plane surveying? What is plane surveying? These are surveys in which Earth's surface is assumed to be as plane and the curvature of the Earth is ignored. So when plane surveying is being done, you assume the Earth's surface is plane and the curvature of the Earth you don't take into account. So you assume Earth is not curved but Earth's surface is plane. Then geodetic surveying is what? A surveying in which curvature of the Earth. Here now we take into account the curvature of the Earth by taking the higher degree of accuracy in linear as well as angular observations of the Earth. Yeah. So the difference, you can be asked, what is the difference between plane surveying and geodetic surveying? So you will say plane surveying assumes that the Earth is plane and it does not take into account the curvature of the Earth, but geodetic surveying takes into account that the Earth is curved by high degree of accuracy in linear and angular observations. So when you are taking the linear measurements and the angles of the Earth, you must be accurate in the highest order. So there are types of surveying, various types of surveying works. The first type of surveying works is topographical survey. What is done in topographical survey? These are surveying which are carried out to depict the topography of a mountainous terrain, rivers, water bodies, and other details such as road, railways, and townships. So topographic surveying is done to know the topography, of a place. The topography of a place. Some places may be terrain, some places may be hilly, some may be plain. So when you want to do various work like the construction of roads, you have to do a topographical survey to know the topography of the place where your road will pass through, and you know various surveying measures that you should put in place. Then the next one is cadastral survey. Cadastral survey, also known as land surveying. So remember, topographical surveying majorly deals with the natural features, natural features like the rivers, lakes, and other artificial features like the railways, roads, canals, and others. So cadastral survey is also known as land surveying. This is a survey which is done generally to plot large scale than topographical surveying and are carried out to fixing property lines, calculation of areas of land, properties, and also surveying the boundaries of municipalities. So cadastral surveying or the land surveying is done to come up with the various boundaries and to know the area of parcels of lands. Then the next type of surveying is engineering surveying. Engineering survey is done when you want to do engineering works like construction of dams, construction of roads, construction of water reservoirs, sewage disposal places. So it is surveying which is done to determine quantities to afford sufficient data for designing engineering works. It's carried out for determination of quantities or to afford sufficient data for designing engineering works such as roads, reservoirs, sewage disposal, water supply. Then we have military surveying. Military surveying is done by the Air Force. Yeah, it's done by the Air Force. The surveying which are carried out for preparation of maps of areas of military importance. So it is done by the Air Force Department. The military, when they want to go and defend the country in a particular place, they must first do a military survey to know various things that will come across when they are in that place. So that is the purpose of military surveying. So we have mining surveying. Mining surveying is also done majorly by those who are extracting minerals from the ground, beneath the surface of the ground. Yeah, various minerals are extracted from the ground like coal, copper, gold, iron, ores, various things they are extracted, and any other mineral that you may know. Then we have aerial surveying. Aerial surveying is done from above. Majorly they are done by the use of aeroplanes, drones, and other equipment that can take the survey of a place from above. So that is the introduction of surveying. We then proceed to chain surveying. Chain surveying, you need to know what is entailed in chain surveying. Yeah, what is entailed in chain surveying. So chain surveying is carried out by the measuring chain, which is also known as the land chain. The method of surveying is suitable relatively for small areas of land which is fairly level and open with simple details. So chain surveying is done when let's say you want to measure a particular piece of land, and the piece of land is not that big. You'll do a chain surveying by the use of an equipment like tape, measuring tape. There is also a linen tape. Yeah, so the chain surveying is done in places where it's plain and the places where are open with no many obstacles, which are not hilly or areas that are valley. So there are some technical terms you need to know in chain surveying. There is a survey station. What is a survey station? You can be asked in your exams that what is a survey station. Survey station is the point where two sides of a triangle meet. It can be at the end of a chain line. Then what is a survey line? Survey line is joining two main survey stations. Then there is a baseline, the longest survey line. Yeah. Then there is check lines. They are done to check the accuracy of the work that is done. Then there is tie lines. Tie lines are done to join subsidiary or stations on the main lines. They are majorly done to tie up subsidiary lines on the main lines. Then we have the equipment that are used in chain surveying. So first, these are the items that are to be done in chain surveying. We have measuring lines. We will know the equipment that will be used for measuring. Then we have marking station or points. We'll then know various equipment that will be used for marking stations and points. Then we have setting out simple angles. We will also know various equipment that are used for setting out angles. So equipments for linear measurements, equipment that are used for when you want to do a linear measurement, when you want to measure an area of a place. The first equipment is chain, are made from the best iron wires, galvanized to prevent corrosion. Brass swivel handles are fitted at the end of the chain lines, and those are included in the overall measurements. Chains are available in sizes of 20 meters, 30 meters. Land chains is quite strong and is ideal for dragging across extremely rough ground during surveying. Available in lengths of 30, 50, or 100 meters. So that is a chain line. Chain line is majorly used for measuring the lengths and widths of areas of parcels of land or a place where you want to measure. Then we have a steel tape is also used to measure. Linen tape. So there are some differences between steel tape and a linen tape. So steel tape are much lighter and easier to use than the land chains. They are available in lengths of 10, 15, 25, and 30 meters. Then you have linen tape. We also have fiber tapes. So we'll just go through the definitions. Then the equipment that are used for marking points. We have ranging poles. Yeah, we have ranging poles or ranging rods. Ranging rods can also be used when you are measuring trenches, and also when you are measuring parcels of land. After measuring, you mark that place by use of a ranging pole. Then we have land chain arrows are also used. Then we have the pegs and stakers. Pegs and stakers are also used. Pegs are just wooden pegs. They can be wooden, they can be steel. You can also use a nail as a peg, and they are also used to mark the position of survey stations. Yeah. Then there are equipments for marking. You can use ranging posts to mark. You can use land chain arrows to mark. You can use pegs and stakers to mark. So basically, the marking equipments and the marking and equipments used for setting out. Equipment used for setting out are like the cross staff. You can use a cross staff for setting out. You can use build a square for setting out. We have an optical square. We also have a clinometer. Those are the equipments that are used for setting out. Then we have a principle of chain surveying. The first principle of chain surveying is working from all to part. What does this mean? So far it is the main principle of surveying. Yeah. So working from all to part is to achieve sufficient number of main survey stations and are established with higher precision in and around the area to be surveyed. So when you are doing this principle, you first establish the whole parcel of land that you want to measure. Then you identify each and every point from the whole parcel of land that you need to measure. Then the next principle is location of a point by measurements from 2 survey points. Here you first establish 2 survey points that you are to measure. Then is when you measure the entire parcel of land that you have. So there are various procedures that you need to do when you are measuring from 2 survey points. The first procedure, you could first measure distances of an established points. Your established points can be P, Q, and R. Then from that you drop a perpendicular from R to meet PQ at T. Then measuring the distances of QR and the angle of PQR. Then by measuring the interior angles of the PQ and R, then by measuring the sides of the triangle PQR, so that is the procedure of doing that the second principle. So we then have the procedure of chain surveying. When you want to do a chain surveying, what is the procedure that you must follow? The first thing, majorly, this is just a procedure of when you want to do any surveying works. This is the procedure that you must follow. The first procedure is the reconnaissance or the preliminary inspection. The reconnaissance. The reconnaissance is a pre-visit to a site where you want to work on. Reconnaissance has various importance. When you do a reconnaissance, you'll know various tools that you'll put in place for the survey works. You'll know the obstacles that are in that survey station, that are in that parcel of land that you are to survey. You'll know the various services that are around that place. You'll also know the existing buildings, trees, roads, railways, and the topography. Yeah. So after doing the reconnaissance, you then mark the stations. You mark the stations. Here you go. The survey station should be marked on the ground so that they may be readily discovered when required. You mark the stations after doing the reconnaissance. After marking the stations, then you locate the stations by referencing from a sketch. So you'll have to have a sketch of a place where you're going to survey, where you'll refer. Then you'll do a running of survey lines. You'll then connect your survey lines. Yeah. Then you'll complete by selection of the survey stations. So there are various points that you need to note when you are selecting survey points. There are main survey stations at the end of the chain lines should be intervisible. Then the main principle of surveying, that is working from all to part and not from part, is the all should be strictly observed. Yeah. Then the survey station should form well-conditioned triangles. Every triangle should be provided with a check line. So those are the various points. There are many. So those are the various points that you need to note when you are doing surveying works. So there are equipments for surveying stations. Equipments for survey were required when you are doing chain surveying. The first equipment is a 20-meter or a 30-meter surveyor chain. You know a surveyor chain. Yeah. Then you have a metallic tape. Then you have a ranging rod. We have discussed them above. Then we have an optical square or a crossfold that is used for setting out. So the surveyor chain is used for measuring or taking linear measurements. Metallic tape is also used for taking linear measurements. Then the ranging rods is also used for marking. Then the optical square or the cross staff is used for setting out. A plumb bob is used for marking or checking the verticality of your stuff. Then we have wooden peg is used for marking. A hammer will help you for setting the markings on the ground. Then you have a field book where you'll take the field notes. Yeah, where you'll take the field notes. Okay, so far that is the procedure, and that is the basics that you need to know. So the field book is just something which looks like this. So that is all for introduction and chain surveying. We'll then proceed with various topics under surveying works. Thank you so much for watching this video, and may God bless you.